Welcome back to my channel, Nerd It This Way. I'm Mahalia, and this will probably be my last review for today because I still have stuff to pack and other stuff to do today, so I didn't plan my time very well. But I wanted to talk about my MVP this month, Midnight Without a Moon. In my wrap up, which is down below, I talked about the Jim Crow era, Emmett Till case, Brown versus Board, and all the books that if you like this, you still have to read this because it's that good of a book. Like To Kill a Mockingbird, this, way better. So the detail now. Ooh, so excited. This book is about Rosa and her family. Rosa's mother leaves her and her brother Fred Lee for another family. What is her reasoning, you might ask? I'm glad you asked. She said, this man who owns this land, all this land, has these two little babies, and they need a mom. Her kids are 10 and 7. They're adults. They're good. They have Ma Pearl and Papa, their grandfather. And so she's like, deuces, I'm going to help him live this good life while he takes care of me. And oh, by the way, we're moving north. So Ma Pearl is taking care of Fred Lee, Rosa, and her other granddaughter, Queen. Queen is their cousin, their mom's sister had Queen, and no one knows who the father is. She's a light-skinned girl, curly hair, really pretty, known to be very pretty, the prettiest girl in the house right now. And as Rosa is talking to her mother, Mr. Pete, her stepfather, and his kids, Little Man and Sugar, who should be called Salt or Badass, is, enjoying their mother in a sense. And Rosa's mother does not acknowledge them, in my opinion, as her children. She calls them sister and brother. So she pretty much is like, you're not my kids. These are my kids. And this is my family. You're my siblings now. And that has so many effects on Rosa. So after this happens, every night she prays to have a lighter tone of skin. I'm gonna let that sink in. This child, this little girl, is praying to be lighter in skin complexion, to be loved. She works in this plantation with her papa and Fred Lee and other men on the Reynolds plantation who owns the land that their little house is on and the other homes. And Ma Pearl is a housemaid for Mrs. Reynolds and her kids. And so Ma Pearl loves the Reynolds. She respects them. She talks very highly of them. Anything they give her, she treasures. This is 1943. This is after slavery is abolished, Jim Crow era, where everything is separate and not equal. And you see that the way Queen talks to Rosa about how dark she is, how ugly she is, how skinny she is, and how Queen is very curvy. She's also 15, 16, hitting puberty, and Rosa's very strong looking, very skinny, and her hands are coarse from working, and she's dark because she's a dark-skinned girl like her brother, and how they look like their father who lives in town somewhere. And their grandparents hate him. Like, okay, how's this? What else is going on? Okay, I'm glad you asked. So her aunt, Ruthie, lives in town down the way with like 7 kids, an abusive husband. Her other aunt, with her aunt Isabel, so her aunt Belle comes down from Chicago with her boyfriend, male friend, and his niece and nephew. Emmett Till is his nephew, posed in this book. So they come down to visit. She brings the girls clothes. Rose is never wearing the clothes that her aunt gives her. Queen does. So that right there, also treatment, right? When she comes down, the aunt and her boyfriend come down, they don't just come down to visit. They come down with a mission. They are part of the NAACP, who is trying to get more blacks to vote. Previously, while they're driving down, 2 black men have been killed for registering to vote. So they're coming down, and as they talk to Ma Pearl and Papa about the importance of voting and how in the North, you know, black and white kids go to school together, everything is equal, you don't have to live down here, you should leave, this isn't fair, no one should be like have to deal with this. And so Ma Pearl brings up this point, which I find very interesting. She was born a slave in the slave era. And so she brings up that these people from the North, NAACP, come down to Stillwater, Mississippi, and other places like that and stir the pot. They stir and they stir and they stir and they leave. So she's talking about how things are okay the way they are. They're not what they used to be. They could go back to what they used to be. Don't force it. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. You guys are wrong. You guys are young. You guys are stupid. And if Negroes stay in their place, everything will be fine. That's her grandmother's mindset. Like, everything will be fine if people stayed in their place. Like, this is the place that they were put in. This is the place they need to stay. Everything is fine. And the aunt is like, that's not right. That's not right. That's not right. That's not right. And so they go to church, and Rosa has this best friend nicknamed Hallelujah. I love him. He is in love with Queen. He is obsessed with her. 14 years old, just like, oh, I love her. I love her. And she's like, boy, if you don't go away, I am too good for you. I am too good for this. I am too good for that. And people treat her as such. While Rosa could be like, oh, I don't really want lima beans. Just speaking gets backhanded. No one says anything. No, that's not really, like, people are like, oh my God, child abuse, child abuse. During that time, you don't talk back. You don't, like, you know, get to do what you want. And that's also the treatment and the differences between the 2 girls. That's also a thing. So the aunt that comes down from the North with her boyfriend and Emmett Till, his nephew, tell them to go be kids. He goes to the store and supposedly whistles at a white woman. That night, the woman's husband and brother go to where Emmett Till is staying with his family at gunpoint, kidnap him, beat the hell out of him, and tie a cotton mill of some kind on him. They strip him, beat him again, and throw him in the river. When they find the body, because they couldn't find him for days, so the decomposition, the swelling with the water, everything, except his father's ring, which they did not take off. So when his mother comes down and identifies the body, like, that's my son, this huge case opens up. And the P is like, find an opening. They're going to exploit this. They're going to exploit the South. It's going to be a big deal. The case is taken to a Stillwater court, and it's treated as a joke. which is very sad. They're talking about their days, they're drinking Coca-Colas, they're like, it's whatever. It's just some little Negro kid that got killed. Like, he should have known his place. And everyone is inconsistent, like, yeah, he should have known his place. That doesn't seem right, right? Exactly. So the right to vote is even pressuring everyone now. Even kids are like, when you grow up, you need to vote so you don't get treated like this. And then the kids are telling these adults from the North, like, I won't make it if I listen to you. I won't make it to my next birthday. They do not care. These white people here do not care about my right to vote. They don't believe I have a right. And so while that's going on, Rosa is noticing that Queen is acting weird, like hella weird. Like, she's already like snobbish and just holier than thou, but she's sneaking out at night with their new clothes, and Rosa is trying to catch her to see where she's going, but she never catches her because she, is tired, or, she misses the opportunity. And so while all this is happening, Queen is sneaking in and out, and there's like car honking. So Rosa thinks it's this super, super racist truck driver kid. Ricky, I think was his name. I'm not quite sure. But she had an experience with him where she was walking to give this elderly woman eggs, and the car that may be where Queen is running to, maybe not, with this Ricky guy, this crazy white boy, is walking, rolls on the window and spits on her as she's walking with like the dip and everything, like a loogie dip spit. Disgusting. What does she do? She picks up a rock and throws it at the window and breaks the window. In that scene, I can't think of what the movie is, but I thought of the movie with Samuel L. Jackson and Matthew McConaughey as a lawyer, with the little girl walking down the street. She gets kidnapped by the two white boys, and that whole case. If you know what that movie's called, please comment below, because I can't remember what it's called, but I remember watching it for morals and values class and ethics class, but I cannot remember the title. So she is like, if my cousin is messing around with that boy, ain't nothing good coming out of that. Which, she's right. Nothing good is going to come out of that, ever. And so she tries to warn her cousin, like, don't do it. It's not worth it. Don't do it. And her cousin's like, oh, you wouldn't understand. You're just so black as night. No one can see you. All this stuff, right? So she's like, you know what? I'm going to try and leave the South. So she tries to talk her aunt into taking her back to Chicago with her to the North. And the aunt's like, I can't take you with me. She was like, oh, okay, that's fine. But the aunt leaves, and she's like, oh, great, like, I'm never going to make it to my next birthday. I'm never going to be an adult, because all the preteens, young adults are being killed because they want to vote, because they come home from these colleges, these HBCUs, which, if you don't know what an HBCU, it's a historically black college, university. So yeah, so back to the story. They're coming back with, their rights and knowing their rights and wanting to vote, wanting to help out their community, and then they're being killed indiscriminately. So that also flares a spark up in Rosa to get out of the South. She has to get out and never come back. And so she talks to her aunt again as they come back down, to not stir the pot, but really kind of make people see, like, Emmett Till was not from the South. This is a big deal now. This is now like across country. Like, this is a bigger deal than what it was. Which works out great, right? And then her grandmother is like, you're not going to school anymore. And everybody's like, well, why not? Like, what? I need you to help work. And then she's like, well, what about Queen and Fred Lee, they get to go to school. Why don't I get to go to school? I'm one of the smartest kids in the school. And her grandmother's like, so what? I need you to work. You're gonna work. You gotta do your part for this family. And then she's like, well, Queen don't do not a damn thing but lay in bed and pretend she's sick. But now Queen is actually sick all the time. And so people are starting to ask, like, hey, is Queen expecting? And Ma Pearl's like, no, because I don't let them go anywhere but church and work and home. They don't go anywhere. They don't socialize. They stay at home. I don't want none of my grandkids acting like my children. Because her children got pregnant at 16, 15, 17. And she ended up raising them. And so she's like, I don't want no more babies in my house. None. Never. That doesn't happen, as you know, because Queen's pregnant. And so now it's like, who's the father? Who's the father? How did she get caught? Ma Pearl caught her climbing back through the window with her clothes on. And how she found that out was she stayed up all night to catch the girl come back, because she noticed she was gone but didn't say anything. And she saw her get kicked out of a car, thrown out, and then sneak back in with her tail between her legs. And in that scene, it's very like, oh God, she's gonna kill her. She's gonna kill her. But it humbles Queen down. Like, she gets beat within an inch of her life, and she never says who the father is. There she's like, who's the father? Who's the father? Who's the father? And she's like, I'm never gonna tell you. And the grandmother's like, well, he has to be white then. And no white boy is ever gonna love a colored girl. But Mahalia, isn't your husband white? Yes. That's not a part of the story, though. Years later. So Queen and Rosa have a moment where Queen's like, oh my God, do you always get beat like that? And Rosa's like, yeah, it's the life I live. Thug life. Yeah. I live that way every day. And I work in a field full of cotton under a hot sun with no pay. None. I don't get paid. They get paid. I don't get paid. And Queen starts to appreciate her cousin a little more, and also is worried about everyone finding out. And so Rosa's like, who's the father, Queen? Who's the father? And Queen's like, it's the Reynolds son, 14-year-old son. Queen is about 15, 16. And Rosa's like, you're pregnant by Ma Pearl's boss's son? You're pregnant by the landowner's son? You are pregnant by a white man's son? Are you crazy? And Queen's like reasoning is like, he said he loved me. He said I was beautiful. He said I wasn't like all the other colored girls. She's not. She's mixed. So no, she's not like that. And no, because she has no work ethic. So no, she's a princess. So when he found out, like, messing around with her so much, which apparently, like, they had a relationship for a while, when he found out she was pregnant, she thought he was going to take her home and be like, I love this girl, she's going to be mine. That didn't happen, and her bubble was burst, and now everybody knows she's pregnant and expecting a child. And so Rosa's like, well, that doesn't matter. I'm going north. It's decided. I'm going north. I just got to figure a way there. After she figures out her way to the north, her aunt and the boyfriend come back and is like, you want to come with us? And she asked her grandfather, who is like the law in the house. He was like, I don't want her to leave because her work ethic is so important, and she's a good worker. She knows what she can do, and there's nothing stopping her. And Rosa's like, education is stopping me. You won't let me go to school. And he brings up, that has never stopped you from learning. You still get books. You still find a way to learn new words. You know more than me, which at that time, 6th grade was really great. But 10th grade, you were doing some things, which is where Queen was. And Queen has no work ethic. Like, they have no faith in her work skills. Like, none. So they're hoping she'll go to college and meet somebody and fall in love. But now that she's pregnant, she can't do that. And so in this moment, there's this weird like epiphany moment where Rosa's like, I can't leave. I have to take care of my cousin and my brother. Like, who's gonna take care of these people? Hallelujah. Like, who's gonna take care of my best friend? And I felt like that part was awesome because there's this moment, which is the title, where they, you know, you figure out the title. And I read, like, not really the whole page, but most of it, where there's this almost moment where it has not happened in the book. This recognition of darker skin tones being beautiful and like pretty and wanted, which is it's just great, right? So Reverend Jenkins said Aunt Ruthie was pretty. I asked. She is pretty, said Hallelujah, but she's so dark. I stopped myself when I realized I was about to say I stopped myself when I realized what I was about to imply. Dark women is pretty too, Fredley said. That ain't what I was about to say, I snapped. You was, Fredley countered. Fredley was right. And then it goes down to say, so why did I find it so hard to believe Reverend Jenkins would find her pretty too? For the same reason I couldn't think of myself as pretty. My own grandmother made me feel ashamed of my complexion, saying I was as black as midnight without a moon. But I had to remember my own strange words to Hallelujah on the night before the murder trial ended. Stars can't shine without darkness. And I was determined that one day, instead of fretting over being as dark as midnight without a moon, I would shine as bright as the morning star, which Reverend Jenkins told us is the planet Venus and is a sign for hope. Obviously, that's why this book is the MVP. And I hope I didn't spoil too much because this video is long and I'm really sorry, but I had so much to say. If you have any other questions or comments or anything like that, please link it down below. But I feel personally, if you can listen to Logic, Wiz Khalifa, Drake, Jay-Z, Kanye, old Kanye West, old Kanye West, Nas, Tupac, Biggie, Run the Jewels, any Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, Lil' Kim, Trina, all these rappers, and then R&B like Aretha Franklin, Etta James, Gladys Knight, Beyonce, Janet Jackson, Michael Jackson, all these really, really influential R&B black artists, then you could read this book. If you could read To Kill a Mockingbird, you could read this book. If you could read Animal Farm, The Jungle, 100 Years of Solitude, any of those mandatory school books, you could read this because it is something that needs to be read. And it is something that needs to be discussed because the treatment of one's skin complexion is ridiculous. Even within the community itself, like, oh, dark skin is in now. Oh, light skin's in now. Oh, having light skin, blue eyes, curly hair is in now. Oh, having really dark skin with, you know, the afro is big now. It's always big because it's beautiful. Queen was beautiful, but she had a shitty personality, so she was not cute at all. It is what it is, you know, like, ugh. And I really hope that I opened up people's perspective, and if you have any questions or anything like that, please comment below. I do not mind answering any questions or referring you to anything and everything that has to do with this book because I loved it. Like, I truly, truly enjoyed this book. I know this video is long. I am very sorry, but thank you for like sticking with me in my not rant, but my my gushing, my passion over this. Thank you for sticking it out through the whole video. Thank you, nerds, for coming back to the channel. Thank you, new people, for subscribing, because I'm already like anticipating you clicking that subscribe button and hitting the bell to get notifications. And all of my social media contacts and everything are down below as well. So if you want to follow me on that, feel free. Power through the other three I have, and I will see you nerds later. Bye.